Here's a quote that he gave Kevin Acee that's in the UT today. This is from Bogaerts. People are like, you're too hard on yourself. You're too down on yourself, Bogaerts said. It's like, bro, I've seen the same bleep the whole time. At this point, you're just flipping a coin, like hoping something different happens while doing the same thing over and over again. That's Xander Bogaerts, very transparent and honest to Kevin Acee in today's Union-Tribune. What's he saying?
Not the best thing you want to hear.
When you read what I mean, he is saying, he's saying what he's saying, but is he saying more than what he's saying about his struggles? What can we learn from what he's saying?
That everything I'm doing is not working.
Correct.
And I don't know what to do now.
Correct.
And maybe some of my confidence is I'm losing my confidence. It feels like I'm at a point where I just like say F it and I just feel like I want to give up. I'm not saying he's going to do those things. He's getting paid a lot of money and he's a professional baseball player and he loves baseball seemingly. And he's going to go out there and he's going to grind his ass off to try to get himself back to playing better baseball. But for this year specifically, it's kind of a problem, John.
Not kind of a problem. It's a big problem.
Yeah.
Here's the one thing. We may have said this during the Fusion. I certainly said it with Darren off air. Baseball, unlike real life, is not a game that you try harder and you get results. Right. In real life, if you prepare more for a test, there's a very good chance you do better on the test. Mm-hmm. In baseball, the more you think, the more exposing the sport can be. And just because, like your analogy earlier with golf, which is spot on, just because you are good at golf doesn't mean you're always going to be good at golf. Mm-hmm. And just because you've been a good hitter doesn't mean you're guaranteed the right to be a good hitter. There are exceptions, of course, to brilliant hitters for a large sum of their career. Look at Tony Gwynn. But that's more the exception to the rule. And even someone as good as Xander Bogaerts, and oh, by the way, he entered this year a 291 career hitter. Oh, by the way, last year in his final 305 plate appearances, this was in Kevin's article, he hit 321. So we can say whatever we want to say. So is he trying too hard, which is something you can say in a sport like baseball?
Maybe. I don't know. We don't see him do the work every day, but he's putting in the work. I appreciate Xander for being candid and honest about these things, and you feel bad for him. Like, I'm the guy that says, just who cares about whatever? Just produce. You're getting paid lots of money. Like, you need to perform. The stars need to be stars. But when you see stuff like this and how candid he is, you can't help but feel bad for him. But then you also have to realize that, like, I feel bad for the guy, but he's a professional. Sure. And he is getting paid a lot of money. Yeah, at some point, the feeling bad for the guy is kind of going to go away. Like, if he continues to produce like this for the rest of the season, and say they miss the postseason, right? And Xander performs like this for the rest of the year, and there's big opportunities for Xander to help this team win. He doesn't come through. Is anybody going to feel bad for the guy because he works his ass off? Probably not. People are going to probably be upset because they didn't make the postseason, and Xander had a god-awful year in year number 2 of an 11-year, $280 million contract. I think that's how majority fans think, even though these guys are real people. It's not just a video game out there. These guys are going through a lot of stuff that probably we don't even know about, but it's just kind of how sports is, man. Do you produce or do you not produce?
Yeah. One of the things he said that actually was interesting to me that I don't necessarily agree with, but maybe it's what he needs is this is his quote. One thing I know, it only takes one swing. But I don't see him as a guy that can't get a hit. I see him as a guy that hasn't had any consistency producing. There's a lot of games he's actually he's on the heels of a 7-game history. Now, it was soft.
It's very soft.
So it's not like this isn't Chris Davis, Orioles, you can't hit a ball slumping. This isn't a 140 hitter. He's not hitting 140, and there's no threat of him hitting 140 this year. To me, he's not the type of hitter that needs a home run to get out of it. He's not the type of hitter that needs a clutch hit.
Because he's not a home run hitter.
That's the thing. He doesn't need a clutch hit. I mean, he had hit in 7 consecutive games before the last 2 games against the Cubs when he was over. So I don't know what he needs, but he needs for me, more than one moment. He needs some consistency.
Another concerning part is saying how he's doing all the right things when he is not in the games.
Like but then he reverts
But then
back.
As soon as he gets in the game, he reverts back to what he's been doing to get him in this massive slump.
Right.
That is kind of scary to think about. Because we were texting about it today, and I was like, he's got the yips. Not really the yips. The yips is like when you can't throw the ball to first base, or if you try to hit a chip shot, you shank it every time. Like those are kind of the yips. Or a
pitcher can't throw a strike. It's very rarely associated with hitting because everyone knows hitting is already overly taxing and mental.
Yeah, you can't say the yips are equated to hitting, but it feels
typically not.
It feels a little bit kind of like what the yips are is when you go out and practice. Say I go to the driving range. And I hit 100 balls, and they all feel great. Pure shots. I'm like, I feel great right now. I get on the course. My first shot's a dead hook, 200 yards on the right side or the left side, excuse me. And I'm like, what the hell? I just hit 100 great shots at the practice range. This is kind of how I view it with Xander, and it's a lot of golf analogies today for me. But he's going on the driving range, and he's hitting everything pure, and then he gets on the course. And he can't hit a good shot to save his life.
Yeah, I mean, so it's funny you say this because when we were texting back and forth, I don't equate hitting to yips typically. Right. And I've spent so much time covering baseball in my career, I don't see it the same. But I spent 15 years in the minor leagues. But here's the thing.
Breaking
it's
news. Not
yips, but like, how do we explain? Get this ad off my computer. Baseball Reference.
It's not. I hate when they do that.
Come on, man. Trying to do a radio show.
Make your screen bigger.
Look, like in all honesty, I can't even minimize. Oh, there we go.
There you go.
So hear me out. Like Chris Davis, it's not Xander Bogaerts. He's a power hitter. He hit 209 after the 2013 season. Okay, and prior to the 2013 season, he had 266. Like he was night and day different, and I think it had to do with that contract and his vision and everything. Albert Pujols, night and day career. St. Louis, Anaheim. Why? Age, contract, zillion factors, injuries. I don't typically think yips. Now, they're also both brilliant power hitters at one point, both Pujols and Davis. That's not who Xander Bogaerts is, but maybe there is something to be said about that. Davis is all of a sudden falling off a cliff. Albert Pujols all of a sudden falling off a cliff. Is Xander Bogaerts going through something comparable to what those two players went through in the middle or later portions of their career? We'll only find out. You can't write him off in year 2 because unfortunately you can't do it because he's going to be here for years 3, 4, 5, and 6.
You can't write him off, but you can definitely be very concerned about it. Because what are the options here? There are none.
That's what I'm saying. That's why you can't write him off.
There's no option here other than to continue to play him every single day. And he already moved positions for you, and you try to bench him. Then what? You can't bench a guy in year 2 of an 11-year deal.
They've already given him off days.
I know, but I mean, like literally bench him, right. John.
Well, no, I don't think they will.
He becomes the Tyler Wade of this team.
No,
they're not doing that.
That's not. But eventually, like when you think about like their infield situation, which is pretty interesting because you've acquired Luis Ariz,
correct?
And he is an infielder. Even if you want to DH him, we could pretend like he's just a DH. He's not. He's been an infielder. So you got to kind of squeeze in space potentially. Like you have the ability. If Bogaerts completely fell off the cliff, 80 games in, 120 games in, at what point you say, you know what, you're sitting more than starting? I don't know. It's not now.
Well, if we get to the 80 game mark and he's still putting up these type of numbers with an OPS under 600,
yeah, it's crazy.
I'm sorry, but if I'm moving him down to like 8th or 9th in the lineup, maybe even 7, 8, 9, one of those spots, I am not going to risk it by putting him in the middle of this lineup and expecting him to come through because he's just not getting it done. And it's great that he is very candid about all of this stuff. It kind of brings that human element to what's going on with Xander right now. He's amazing with the media. He's great at taking you inside baseball here and telling you what's going on with him. But it's also a little scary to know what's going on with him, that he is practicing all the right things, and when it comes to game time, he reverts to all of the wrong things. That's a scary thing to think about.